legendary civil rights icon, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, in the studio. Reverend Jackson, how are you?
Mr. Sherwin, good morning on this chilly Milwaukee morning.
And I am pleased to have one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party, Chairman Bobby Seale. Mr. Chairman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
From Mr. Eric Holder. Mr. Holder, so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, man. How you been? It's been a long time. Haven't seen you for a while.
The Dr. Cornell West. Dr. West, how are you, sir?
My dear brother, you're so kind, you're so generous, man. But I salute you and the work that you were doing there. Doing a magnificent job there in Wisconsin.
Stream live on 1017thetruth.com. Call in with your questions or comments. 833-212-1017. Join us on social media at 1017 The Truth. It may not be what you expect to hear, but I will definitely give you what you need to know. Are you ready for the truth?
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is Sherwin Hughes.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Monday, February 10th, 2025. I hope you all had a chance to witness what I believe was not just the greatest Super Bowl performance in history, but a monumental one that was a shift of culture. If you knew what you were looking at, most people did not. And I think that was the point. Remember, Kendrick Lamar is a Pulitzer Prize winning writer. So everything that he does has got a lot of hidden meaning underneath it. I'm going to do my level best to try and analyze and break down the very complex parts of the halftime show. And for those people that didn't like it or wasn't entertaining enough, or he should have did this, he should have had outfit changes, he should have performed different songs, it's not for you. And I can't make it for you. If you only saw what was on the surface, then first of all, you're a product of what America wants you to be. And what I say to you is probably not going to make any sense, because what Kendrick did is he took Black history and Black history digested and then put it to symbolism and put it to music in a way that was nothing short of masterful, and most people didn't get that. And what's disappointing is when Black people didn't get it, because that explains the divide between Black folks that are woke and Black folks that are consumers, because the opposite of woke is not sleep, it's consumer. Woke means you are aware of oppression and you can understand the art form that is Black history. That Black history is not a series of like stuff that Black people invented that you didn't know about. It's how you digest James Baldwin. It's how you digest the poetry of Phyllis Wheatley. It's how you digest Stokely Carmichael and Kwame Ture. It's how you digest those things and then come up with a picture of where we are right now. But here's the good news, though. And social media is going to give you instantaneous feedback on people's actual true thoughts. And so this is where we can take an inventory of who is with us and who is not, who understands and who does not. All of this anti-wokeness that I think the majority culture has digested, they did a war on wokeness, a war on being aware. That means that Black folks that know and understand the culture and the code, we can plan our revolution on the surface level and most people won't even know what we're talking about. Kendrick said, you picked the right time, but the wrong guy. He was like, I'm not your revolutionary. You are the revolutionaries. I am just going to put on full display where we are at in this country. And it was complicated, and I know it flew over a whole bunch of people's heads. So I was confused by a lot of it. I had to watch it again this morning. And then once I watched it again, I was like, oh, like in the beginning, he mimics a flow from a song called Hip Hop. It's Bigger Than Hip Hop by a conscious group, hip hop group from the early 2000s called Dead Prez. In fact, the background melody is that song, It's Bigger Than Hip Hop. But most people didn't even catch that. So Kendrick was starting off his set saying, what I'm going to do is bigger than hip hop. That means put your thinking caps on because we're about to go deep. The set ranged from a representation of the show Squid Games. And Squid Games is basically a Korean Netflix series. There's 2 seasons of it where it's basically themed rich people watch poor people kill each other for their entertainment. That is what America is right now. Most people miss that. He was standing on a Grand National, a GNX. The only year, and you guys that are familiar with K-Dot's music, you guys know the symbolism of the GNX. It was only built one year, 1987. That was the year Kendrick Lamar was born. It was an underestimated vehicle, which Kendrick Lamar is underestimated for his incredible writing skills and his Pulitzer Prize. And it was the fastest vehicle in the world at the time, but nobody appreciated it. So that was all symbolism as well that flew over a lot of people's head. A lot of people didn't even understand at the end of his set, the stage was a PlayStation controller to just illustrate to people how dissolved our minds are in wanting to play video games and how ironic it was. And shout out to Benjamin. Don't be mad at me, Benjamin. But I heard you talking about how upset you were that one of your servers was down on the video games you were playing. Like, Kendrick literally spoke to you in his performance. It was overwhelming, quite honestly. And I'm surprised that the NFL allowed that level of conscious blackness to be on full display. And that's why a lot of white folks didn't get it, and they thought it was stupid. Everybody, even the famous white folks, Theo Vaughn, a whole bunch of other folks. Matt Coors, a famous YouTuber, this was stupid. What the heck was going on? You're supposed to not know what was going on. And the more people that don't know what's going on, the easier it will be for us to plan the next revolution right on the surface level. Because if we speak to each other in a certain way, those of us that are conscious, those that are unconscious will never understand. Problem is, there's too many black folks that are unconscious. This is a flashpoint in American history. I'm not sure if you guys know that, but what is happening in this nation, especially with Donald Trump being reelected, and a lot of this was aimed at Trump. A lot of it was. They even showed it was a photograph that I saw of Trump. Somebody was explaining what Donald Trump was seeing because he's way too stupid to know what was going on. And he was just sitting there with his arms folded like, how dare you do this? Samuel L. Jackson represented the masses that just want to be entertained. Kendrick, don't be too ghetto. Wait a minute, you're going too far. No, don't do that. It's also very reminiscent of the character that Samuel L. Jackson played in Django as well. So there was a lot going on. I want to do my best to decipher it. It's going to take a little bit of time, but once I explain the nuts and bolts of what you saw, then it's going to make a lot more sense. But he was speaking to the woke. A lot of you are anti-woke, and you were told to be anti-woke, unaware of oppression. And so that flew over your head. And that's perfectly fine with us, those of us that understand what's going on and what is at stake. Because now we know who we can and who we cannot work with. If we have to give, like there were so many, breakdowns, and I was embarrassed that so many African-American people had to break down one of our famed artists' performances. I was like, this public school system is actually working perfectly. I would say, oh, no, the public school system is a failure because black people don't know when they are being spoken to in a critically conscious way, like, oh no, our public education system is failing. No, that is the result of the public education system doing exactly what it's supposed to do, making sure that black people are just consumers of entertainment, consumers of fun, consumers of trends, consumer of culture, but not a consumer of your own aggregated history, because what Kendrick did is he put it on full display, and then we determined who understands it or not by the social media commentary. That is for us to take an inventory of the people that know what he was trying to say, and those are those people that do not. There's a lot going on. Shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles. For those of you that are Kansas City Chiefs fans, I'm not really sure why you would be. Their three-peat hopes have been dashed. I'll probably do a little touch on the game, recap a little bit of that, but you guys know this is not a sports show, nor would I ever pretend to be, because, sorry, but sports shows are boring. The last thing that I'm going to need, and I'm going to be watching for this, so whenever there's a Super Bowl, the winning team gets invited to the White House. A couple of years ago, Donald Trump was very angry. I think this might have been 2018. When was the last time the Eagles won a Super Bowl? Somewhere around there. Some of the players did not go to the White House during Donald Trump's first term. They passed on the invitation. Now that the Eagles have won another Super Bowl, I'm going to need none of them to go to the White House. That is the last bit of this protest that I need to come to fruition. So we're going to be watching out for that. And also, Brown Deer, you should be very, very proud. because one of our own, the linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, Zach Bond, is now a Super Bowl champion. I don't know how many of y'all can say that your alma mater high school has a Super Bowl champion, so yet another reason to be Brown Deer proud. Oh, in case you didn't know, I'm a Brown Deer High School graduate. Melanie Ricks is a Brown Deer High School graduate. Jason Smith, who produces Dr. Ken's show and does a lot of our social media, also a Brown Deer High School graduate. We even had a guy that worked here some time ago. I can't think of his last name, but his name was Jay. He was a Brown Deer High School graduate as well. So Brown Deer produces some incredible products, do we not? Lots to talk about today. Hope you can stick around for the long ride and the explanation of what you may or may not have seen during the halftime show yesterday. You can only get this breakdown by listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.